Hello listeners and viewers. Welcome to Kaduna State Ministry of Education Radio and TV e-learning program designed for our SS3 and other students staying at home due to the coronavirus pandemic. The present administration, under the able leadership of His Excellency, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, is positioned as always to ensure that under his leadership, our students are not left behind in all areas of human endeavors, especially education. Kaduna State is the center of learning. Therefore, we want to ensure that our students excel in their forthcoming examinations and beyond. Students and other learners at home are given this opportunity in order to continue learning, as education is a continuous process. Different subjects will be taught in this program to assist students to perform excellently in the forthcoming Senior School Certificate examination being conducted by NECO and WAEC as soon as schools reopen. Teachers making presentations will always provide their names and phone numbers during each presentation, and they can be contacted for questions, further explanations, and/or clarifications. The following numbers and contacts can also be reached for expression of any concern or observation: 090-865-00545 or 080-383-62072. Our website is www.education.kdsg.gov.ng. Our email education@kdsg.gov.ng or education.kdsg@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Our Twitter handle @Kaduna_MOE. Or our Facebook page, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Stay safe, stay at home, and learn well. Thank you, happy listening, and happy viewing.
Hello, my students and other learners. I'm here to teach you history. My name is Ibrahim Zakari. Our topic of discussion today is Second Borno Empire. Already we have treated the first the first Kanem Empire, that is the Kanuri Empire. We are going to look at the second Kanuri Empire. The first Kanuri Empire was the Kanem Empire, which was situated in the eastern of Lake Chad. Then the second Kanuri Empire was the Borno Empire, situated in the western side of the Lake Chad. Before we move into discussion, we were aware that the Sepawa dynasty, who was established by their ancestor, who was Seb bin Idi Yazan, founded this empire. As time went on, then they moved to the western part of Lake Chad and established another empire there. What were the reason why these people made this such a historical exodus? The reason was the collapse of the first Kanuri Empire. The first Kanuri Empire, that is the Kanem Empire, collapsed. That was the reason why they moved to the western part of Lake Chad and established another empire there known as the Borno Empire. We are going to look at the reason now. Collapse of the first Kanuri Empire. After the death of Maidunama II, one of the prominent rulers of Borno, after his death, the Sepawa dynasty and the Kanuri in particular suffered a long period of political disasters. There were civil wars and struggle for power. What were the civil wars? Civil wars, this Maidunama II has made a wrong attempt to eliminate, to stamp out all Kanuri form of worship, that is their traditional way of worship. For that reason, many people revolted against him. Many people revolted, even some of his direct descendants, his offspring, moved against him. So Maidinama II, before his death, he sowed the seed of discord, disunity, and mistrust among his people, which led to these civil wars. Struggle for power, as we have made mention, the Council of 12, there were these 4 great men who served as governors of various parts of Kanuri Empire. Kaigama, who acted as the prime minister and commander-in-chief, always posed a threat to the position of the mine. At the same time, they were at loggerheads with the Rima, who was from the ruling family, or the Galadima, whereby Kaigama was just a prime minister, somebody with a servile origin. Another factor that led to the collapse of the Kanuri Empire was some tributary states broke away and won independence. Like the So, the Bulalas were under the influence of the Sepawa dynasty. But these people later on broke away. Why? Because as a result of the constant civil wars and struggle for power, there was collapse of the central administration. Since there was this weakness of the central administration, other tributary states and vassal states broke away and won their independence. Between 1342 and 1352, this tribe, the So, their forces killed 4 successive mice in battle. Within 10 years, they killed 4 subsequent mice, that is kings of Borno, one after the other. Weakness of the central administration. The Bulalas, another strong forces to be reckoned with. They are arch rivals and enemies of the Kanuris. Drove the Kanuri from Injimi in the reign of Mai Daud, who ruled between 1366 to 1376. They drove them from Injimi, the capital. At the same time, after some times, during the reign of Mai Umar bin Idris, who reigned from 1384 to 1388, they drove away the entire Kanuri and the Sepawa ruling dynasty out of Kanem region. That was the reason they moved to the new site, the western part of Lake Chad, and established new empire there known as the Empire of Borno. The Kanem has collapsed. Now we are in Borno Empire. The foundation of the Second Empire of Borno. Sepa power was revived by Mai Ali Gaji, 1472 to 1504, which diagnosed the causes of Kanuri misfortunes and provided the remedies. This Mai Ali Gaji was second to Mai Idris Aloma among the prominent rulers of Borno. He was the founding father of the Second Borno Empire. He founded a new capital at Ngazargamu. That is the capital, Ngazargamu. The first capital was in Jimi. The second one, in Ngazargamu. He crushed all internal opposition and stopped the civil wars. Internal opposition, that is that struggle for power, he settled all that kind of disputes. Civil wars, the supporters of the descendant of Maidunama II and other the supporters or the advocates of their ancestral way of worship. Their distinct antagonism was settled by Mai Ali Gaji. So he maintained internal peace He built up a strong and effective army and maintained internal law and order. Since he has settled the internal distinct strife, he maintained law and order. Another important thing for him to do is to crush all external aggression. And this will only be achieved by maintaining a strong and effective army. So, my Ali Gaji built a strong and effective army. He maintained political equilibrium by reducing the excessive power of the Kaigama. As I have explained, the Kaigama possessed too much power to the extent he posed a threat not to the men in Kanendi only, or the Yerima, or Galadima. Even he posed a threat to the Mai, who was the overlord. So, my Ali Gaji reduced his responsibilities. So from now on, Kaigama, your office is to do this and that. From now on, it is not your duty to perform such a function. So he reduced his power. He repulsed the formidable attack by the Bulala, Jukun, and even the people of Kano by considerable conquest. He pushed away the Bulalas, the Jukuns, who are attacking the empire from both the south and the east. He crushed them, and also he expanded the empire back to Kano. He encouraged the spread of Islam. He went on pilgrimage. He contributed to the economic growth of the empire by encouraging trade between Kanem Borno and North Africa, since he has suppressed all his enemies along the way who stopped and blocked the trading route between North Africa and his empire. He crushed them and expelled them. We are going to look at the achievement of Mai Idris Aloma, another important ruler of Borno, one of the best and strongest ruler in the present republic in Nigeria. He made some administrative reforms. Provincial governors were appointed from slaves and humble families instead of royal families. The Council of 12 before composed of two sections. One section from the ruling family, another section from the people with servile origin. Mai Idris Aloma changed this system in order to curtail, to stop, or to reduce the power of the Council of 12, who also posed a threat to the position and office of the Mai. From now on, if you have the royal blood in you, you are not to be appointed as a member of the Council of 12. That was what Mai Idris Aloma have done. He made Islam a state religion. He introduced various systems of transaction, the prominent being pay as you earn system. He made efforts to control the trans-Saharan trade, and he did. He was the first Sudanese ruler to import firearms from North Africa. He hired Turkish musketeers to train his soldiers in effective use of his weapons. He was the first Sudanese ruler to use firearms by hiring these Turkish distant soldiers to train his people. We are going to look at the factors responsible for the long survival of the Sepawa dynasty. Number one, the family produced men of outstanding political and military ability, such as Donama II, Ali Gaji, and Mai Idris Aloma. The family did not die out through failure of heirs. Nobody eliminated them in this thing historically. Rulers of newly conquered peoples were given sufficient local autonomy for them to accept Kanuri over lordship. Effective system of government which they were able to maintain according to Islamic law and order helped them to attract full obedience from their subjects. They control their subject without any challenge. Their ability to control the trans-Saharan trade route through Bilma to North Africa helped the economy to flourish. They maintained regular supply of horses and camels, of which they built a strong cavalry. There was no any other strong empire to challenge its supremacy in the Western Sudan. Now, I'm stopping here. I will call upon my sister, Rakia Uthman, to come and summarize what we have discussed so far.
Hello students, I'm Rakia Lawal Othman, here to teach history on the topic of the Second Borno Empire. To summarize what my colleague Malam Ibrahim Zakari has just taught you on this great Borno Empire. The empire was characterized by civil wars, struggle for power, and rebellion. The Bulalas, who are a very strong tribe, drove away the Kanuri from Kanem and abandoned their capital in Jimmy. As you all heard earlier on, the capital of Kanuri, first Kanuri Empire, was at Njimi. But these Bulala, they were able to drive away the Kanuris out of this capital in order to maintain their own power. Second Empire was founded in the west of Lake Chad. The capital was Ngazargamu. When they were drove away from the Njimi, they found another empire at west of Lake Chad, that is Ngazargamu. It was Maya Aligaji who founded the empire and still ruled by the Sefawa dynasty. He settled all internal oppositions and suppressed all rebellions. He curtailed the excessive powers of Kaigama. My colleague has been explaining Kaigama as a very strong force who, if you could remember, he talked about the 12 councillors. Out of them, there were 4 that are very strong. So he suppressed their power, their excessive power, by nominating slaves to come into the councillors. There was administrative reforms under Mail Idris Aloma. He built a very strong army and restored the supremacy of the Sefawa dynasty. His leading qualities, that is religious adherence and control of the trans-Saharan trade route, were among the factors responsible for the long survival of the Sefawa dynasty. Meaning, because of these qualities of this strong route of Saharan trade, and also the factors of religious, implementing religious Islam as the religion of the state, has all joined together to make the Kanem Borno, or the new Borno Empire, very strong. And welcome to the assignment segment. We have number 1, narrate the reasons for the long survival of the Sefawa dynasty. Number 2, mention any 4 achievements of my Idris Aloma. I come again. Number 1, narrate the reasons for the long survival of the Sefawa dynasty. 2. Mention any 4 achievements of my Idris Aluma. Contact numbers: Ibrahim Zakari 07084203260, Rakia Lawal Othman 08037882650, Ibrahim Zakari 07084203260, Rakia Lawal Othman 08037882650. Thank you.